There's been a lot of talk about a new Aquaman 2 movie set to release sometime in 2022, but seeing that other films in the DC universe like Wonder Woman 1984 have been delayed, I wonder if this will actually happen. In fact, Aquaman 2 is originally set to launch on December 16th of 2022, which also happens to be my birthday. So I placed a fun bet with some friends of mine to see what happens first, the launch of Aquaman 2 or my 10 million subscriber milestone. Either way, I'm planning something extra special on that date, so I hope you'll stick around to join me. In today's video, we'll be joining the Pride of Gypsies, Jason Momoa, otherwise known as Aquaman. Now we're going to get started in the center of our page and sketch out a circle to define the size of the head. So let's start at the very top. I'm going to use a side grip using the flat edge of my pencil. Start at the very top of our circle. It's going to work our way around the left side. Then come down towards the bottom. And then work our way around the right side. Now with all my sketch illustrations, I'd like to start by adding some guidelines. Let's start with one line coming down the center of our circle, starting from the very top. Let's come all the way down towards the bottom of our page. And we're also going to extend this up towards the top. Let's add another guideline on the side of our circle, going all the way up to the top, and then down towards the bottom. And then we'll go back and add a guideline going across the center of our circle, along the top and bottom. So let's start with the middle, going all the way across. Now these lines are going to help us with the placement of the facial features. Now our eye line is going to sit below the center line. So starting on the left, we'll step down and sketch a line going across that circle from left to right. Let's move back to the center and mark off the inside corner of the eyes. From that center line, we move over towards the left. Just going to sketch a line coming down towards the bottom. And then we'll do the same thing on the right. Now with our guidelines in place, I'm going to go back in and block out the eyes. Let's start from this point on the left and curve the brow going out and then up towards that center line. And we'll do the same thing on the right. And then from the top, we'll curve the brow going out and then down towards that center line. And then from the outside of the brow, we're going to step in and draw the upper eyelid. We're just going to curve up and then just pull that down on the inside. Do the same thing on the right. And then we'll tuck the iris and pupil underneath the eyelid. Let's start over on the left side. We'll draw a half circle, just coming down towards that bottom line and then back up. And we'll do the same thing on the right. Let's go back to the left side and draw on the lower eyelid. From this point, we're just going to curve down underneath the iris and then just pull that up on the inside. Now we're going to move down to the bottom of our circle and draw on the tip of the nose. From the bottom of our circle, we're going to step up and just sketch out a small circle for the tip of the nose, going all the way around. And then we'll flare out the nostrils. Starting back on the left, curve up and out. Do the same thing on the right. Let's draw on the outside of the nostril. Starting back on the left, start by going straight up. We'll just bend that in towards the inside eye line. And then from the tip of the nose, we're going to step down and draw on the mouth. Let's start back on the left side. Just going to curve down and then up. And we'll curve down towards the corners of the mouth, going out and then down. Now I'm going to go back to the left side and draw on the lower lip. We're going to start out here. Just going to curve down in the middle and then up on the right. Now the side of the cheeks are going to come down along the circle and then down underneath the mouth. So let's start on the left side, directly underneath the left eye. Just going to curve down underneath the mouth. Just round this out and just pull that back up on the right. And then we'll go back out towards the bottom corners of the nostrils. We're going to curve the mustache going out and then down towards the sides. And then we'll go back to the corners of the mouth. We'll curve the mustache going out and then down. Let's go back up to the top and define the inside edge of the head. We're going to start on the left side of the circle. Just going to curve up and in toward that center line. Do the same thing on the right. And then from here we go straight up towards the outside of the circle. And then we're going to connect the top of that line with a curve, coming down the middle and then back up. Let's move back down and add some shape to the beard. Just underneath this curve, I'm going to step down, just locate the bottom of the chin right about here. Now I'm going to go back up towards the side of the circle. We'll curve the beard coming down and in. Rounding this out in towards the middle. We'll go out and up on the right. Let's move all the way up to the top and draw the outside of the head. We're going to start from this point. Just going to curve up in the middle, round out the head, and come back down on the right side. And then from the outside, we're just going to bump the hair going out, and just come down the side of the head. And then we'll curve the hair coming down and out towards the base of the shoulders. Just going to blend into a curve. Go down and out, and do the same thing on the right. Now from the outside, we're going to curve the hair going in and up towards the side of the beard. Just line this up on the right and do the same thing. Now there's going to be some hair coming down along the side of the beard. So let's start on the left side. Start by curving down and in. And we'll just pull this back out. Coming down and out. And then from here, we're just going to curve this up and out towards the sides. Now that we have a rough block out of the facial features and the proportions, I'm going to go in and lightly erase out some of these guidelines. Once we're happy with the general proportions of our drawing, I'm going to go back in and add a second level of detail. Let's start with the eyebrows. We're going to add a little bit of thickness, starting from the outside. Just going to taper this up towards the top. Come down towards the inside. We'll do the same thing on the right. I'm also going to go in and lightly shade those eyebrows in, using the side edge of my pencil. And also adding a little bit of shadow along the top of the eyelid. We'll just come down with a very light shade. We're also going to add a deep shadow underneath the eyes. We're going to start on the outside of the eyebrow. Just going to curve underneath the eye, and then back in. And then we'll lightly shade that in. And then we'll go in and add an even shade around the hair, mustache, and beard. We're going to start at the very top. Just adding an even shade all the way around. Now this doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to go back in and clean this up afterwards. Now with this drawing, I'm going to locate the light over on the top right of our page, coming across our character. So the shadows are going to sit along the left side. So start at the very top of the head, just going to curve down and then in towards the eye. And then from the outside, I'm just going to curve out and then down towards the cheekbone. Let's lightly shade that area in. Now my favorite part of the process is going in and adding the details. So I'm going to use the tip of my pencil. We're going to start with the eyebrows. Let's start on the left. Working in the bottom edge of the eyebrow, going all the way up to the top. And then we're just going to curve this around the eye. And then we'll work in the top. Let's go darken up the eyebrow. Now we're going to move over towards the right side and do the same thing, but we're going to add that scar across the eyebrow. Let's start on the inside. We're going to start with the bottom edge of the eyebrow first, going out, then up. We're going to work our way around the side and then down. Now let's go back to the inside. It's going to go up. Now this is where we're going to add the scar. Come down and in. We'll just taper that back up towards the top. Then work our way around the outside. Now because the light's coming down from the right side, we're going to start the shading in the eyebrow dark on the inside and just fade that out along the outside. So we'll start off dark. And we'll start to fade that out along the outside of the eyebrow. And then we'll go back and start adding some detail to the eyes. And also adding a little bit of shading. I'm going to darken up the bottom edge and then just fade that out as we go up. And also adding some more shading on the bottom. Now we're drawing the bottom edge of the eyes before we draw in the iris. So let's start back on the left. And as we come in towards the inside, I want to add the tear duct. We're just going to pull this in and then down. And then I'll go back in and darken up that dark shadow underneath the eyes. And then the shadow underneath the right eye is going to be less intense. So we're going to start off a little bit darker on the inside. Just come underneath the eye. And now we're going to go back and trace out the iris. Let's start with the one on the left. We'll work in the outer perimeter of the iris. Just going to thicken that up a little. And then we'll do the same thing on the right. Let's add a smaller half circle in the center for the pupil. I'm just going to fill that in. And then we'll add a little bit of shadow along the top of the eye and iris. Now we want to intensify the expression by adding some shadow along the inside of the eyes. Let's start on the left. I'm just going to shade this in. Just pull that up. And then just connect the inside of the eyes with some shadow. It's going across. And now we're going to move down and add some shape to the nose. Now the tip of the nose is going to cast a shadow over towards the left side. So let's start at the top. I'm just going to shade this in, coming down in the middle and then back up on the right. And we'll darken that up. Just going a little bit darker along the top and just feathering that out. Now we're going to add a hair texture along the edge of the mustache. So we're going to start in the center. Start with these series of short lines that go up, just working with the curve of the mustache, sort of aiming towards the tip of the nose. And then we're just going to start to bend that out towards the side. Let's do the same thing over towards the right. Just pulling these lines up, just from the edge of the mouth, and then just curving them back in. And then we'll go back and trace out the bottom of the lip. Now to give that lip some shape, we're going to start with a dark shade on the outside and just taper that in. So we'll start on the outside, starting off a little bit darker, and then just feather that out as we come in. Do the same thing on the right. And just darken up the bottom edge of the mustache. I'm also going to add a shadow along the bottom of the lip. Starting off a little bit darker, and then just lightly feathering that out. Now we're going to take that same technique we did with the bottom edge of the mustache along the inside edge of the beard. Let's start on the left side. Just going to pull these lines coming up and in. Just these short lines. Just following that curve that we created. And then the mustache is going to cast a shadow along the bottom of the chin. So we're just going to darken this up along the outside, and then just fade that in. Now we're going to move back up and add that hair texture along the inside edge of the beard. Let's start on the left. It's going to go all the way out towards the side of the head. And then going in with the side edge of our pencil, we're going to darken up the mustache and beard. Just going to blend in the edge of that hair along the bottom and top. I'm just going to bring this all the way down towards the bottom of the beard. Now again, we're going to go a little bit darker on the left side. And then going back with the tip of my pencil, I'm going to add a little bit more texture to the beard and mustache. Now we don't have to cover the whole beard and mustache with these lines, just along the bottom edge and the areas where it's a little bit lighter. Adding a little bit more shape to the bottom edge of the beard. And now we're just going to work that shading going up towards the top of the head. Just adding a little bit more shadow on the left side of the nose. Just going to add some shadow up here. Just adding some shape to the bridge of the nose. And also on the right side. Now his hair is going to be pulled back over his head, so we want to add a little bit of texture along the edge of the hairline. So we'll start on the left. We're just going to pull these lines going up using the side edge of our pencil. Just following that same line that we created. Now that we have the placement of most of the facial features, I want to go back in and add a skin tone. So we start off a little bit darker on the left side and just fade this out as you go towards the right. I'm just going to add a light tone on the sides. And as we get towards the center of the head, I'm just going to start to fade that out. And then on the right side, we start off a little bit darker along the edge. And then just fade that out as we come in. Now I'm going to go up to the top and add some texture along the center piece of the hair. Using the side edge of our pencil, I'm just going to work with the curvature of the head. Just going all the way across. I'm just going to straighten this out in the middle, and then start to bend this out towards the right. And we'll go back and vary up the tone, starting off darker along the left side. Just going to switch the angle sometimes, just coming in and up, and then going back out. And again, we're going to start a little bit darker on the left side because the light's coming down from the right. Just go back to the left side and start working those curls along the left side of the head. So start from the inside edge and just darken this up. Start to curl the hair going around. You see that I'm using these random squiggly lines to define the hair. Just blending out the bottom and just working our way in. And now I'm just blending the hair in with the beard. And we'll do the same thing over on the left side. Start by darkening up the inside edge of the head. And then just bending that out towards the side. Now because this is a sketch illustration, we don't have to be too precise with the hair. We just want to get a general idea of the shape, the tones, and the texture. And as we get closer to the end of our drawing, I'm going to add a little bit more detail and shadow, and also add some scale texture along the suit. And that's pretty much it. There's our sketch illustration of Aquaman. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Make sure you subscribe and send me your requests in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.